All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order, regular, scheduled meeting, day's August 11th, 2026, meeting's called to order at 8:35 a.m. Hey, we just got two of y'all today, so it'll be pretty quick.
It won't take forever.
It's okay.
I gotta go to it.
We need approval of the agenda, OCGA 50-14-1-1E. Can I entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda? Y'all had time to look it over?
Yes,
You study all that material?
yes.
Can I get an approval for the,
Is there amendment?
oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you, sir. We need to make amendments to the motion
Okay.
before we approve it, move to the agenda before we approve it. So under invited guests, we need to add Jason Leatherman. He's gonna go after the great Joe Norman. And then under new business, it'll be E, F, and G. Property owner Smith is E, last name Smith. F is Henley, and G is Harrison. And they'll discuss more about what the amendments are relating to those when we get to that point. And I think that's it for the agenda amendments, right?
Yes.
All right, can I entertain a motion for approval of the agenda as amended?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
A motion on the floor in a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Can we stand for a prayer? Tell you what, Mr. Rob, you mind doing the invocation for us this morning,
Sure.
please?
Right, dear Heavenly Father, we just praise you for the day. We thank you for the opportunity we can come here and gather and talk about county business. We ask that you give us wisdom so we can make some good decisions for the best of the citizens of this county. We ask you to protect all those that are serving this great country and be with us now as we go through this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Face the flag. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item on the agenda is I need an approval of the July 14th, 2026 regular scheduled minute summary. Did you get a chance to review that?
I did. I make a motion, we approve the July 14th regular scheduled meeting minutes.
Motion and a second on the floor for approval of the last scheduled meeting. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now we're down to public comment.
I got something to ask you from the board. You hired a new chief appraiser.
Mhm.
And if my understanding is right, you've hired a new chief appraiser that is 14.7% more than the old appraiser was at, and you're starting out, okay? By the time you added taxes and all, because of your Social Security and Medicare taxes goes up by that.
Mhm.
So you're at about 15% right there
Mhm.
from the start. But you had somebody who would do it for that, and you also have Joe Norman and Tom here who are doing the majority of the work in the field. I've seen them. I've also seen them at the Board of Equalization. They do an absolutely excellent job, Board of Equalization. An excellent job presenting the case, much better than Greg did. So you bring in somebody who's gonna have less work to do because you've got these individuals doing a much better job, and you're gonna pay them more. From a taxpayer's point of view, I'm kind of concerned that y'all are just, it's taxpayer money, we're just gonna give it away. Like it's free, we're throwing it up in the air like that guy and whatever that is, he's in this circle and money flies up and he's grabbing it. So I have a little concern with that. If you don't mind, could you explain why you would do that to me, please?
You want to go, Parrish?
Now you go ahead.
So we hired a new appraiser, and that is basically the going rate. Once we get the office in order with the new appraiser, the chief, our plan is Joe Norman and Associates will not be needed. The maintenance, once the consent order's met, and everything is back in order per the agreement and the contract with Norman and Associates, then the office will handle everything going forward. So that money will be the funds for the Norman and Associates contract will go away.
We've got Norman and Associates contracted for this current fiscal year. So that agreement will terminate at the end of this year, but
We wrap up when we wrap up the city properties.
And it don't mean that he won't be real high. We hadn't voted on that yet to real high. And once you get rid of Joe Norman, you'll never be able to get another contractor in here. It took a lot to
We
get,
won't go too far from that.
yeah, but it took a lot to get y'all in here. And we don't have a walk around plan yeah. And she said she doesn't believe in that walk around either, so y'all need to consider that.
Well, from somebody who sits on the BOE and from the citizen standpoint, I don't think that's your best idea at all. Actually, I think that's so far out in the left field that it's out of bounds. That's just me.
what is out in left field, not out of bounds?
Well, I've seen Greg Hobbs go before the Board of Equalization, and he did a fairly decent job. But they come much more prepared. So unless this new appraiser is going to come up to a lot better standard than Greg's going to come up to, the service is going to go down, and you're paying more money for this. Which, if I was working for the tax assessor's office as one of the personnel, Emily or Danielle there, sorry, I lost your name for a minute. I would be kind of upset that now you're giving the new appraiser a lot more money, 15%, and you're not giving them a raise. I would be wanting some more money. And I'm not real sure that that's an honest answer, that that's the going rate. Can you give me some rates from comparable counties?
Well,
Like, I looked at her resume, and she comes from Fayette County,
yes.
a lot bigger county, as opposed to Pike County with a lot more citizens. I think it says 4,400 properties on
There's
that.
44,000 plus
44,000, I'm sorry.
in Fayette.
You're right.
The
you're right,
the
I'm
other
sorry.
candidate was asking for that same range as the
No,
big
she
chief.
was, excuse me. She was going to work for 12,000 less than the one.
It was 65 to 75 was her asking price. So I'm not going to discuss that here. That was in the executive session, but that's our plan, is to get the office in order. And I was going to ask Rob if he could get me the study y'all had several years ago based on the salaries of the appraisers.
Y'all did that here. That was Christopher T.
Okay, I'll ask Christopher
I think
T.
I have a copy of it in my files.
If you could look
Yeah,
and see,
that's all.
I think Christopher T is on vacation this week, so I don't want to bother him. But if you could get that as well, Rob, it would be greatly appreciated. So that's where we stand on that, and I see how you're looking at it, but you're also judging the new chief before they even take office, that they may not do a proper
Or they
job.
have a chance.
So,
I'll address some issues. Greg was underpaid. There was talk the past year and a half, 2 years that I've been here, trying to give him some respect in that position of respect, and that office some respect by giving the proper increase in salary. Just couldn't get anybody to jump on that bandwagon because politics plays too much of a game, which is just not, it's just, to me, I'm not worried about politics. But that's why Greg was underpaid, is strictly politics. And regarding the other staff salaries, that's already been discussed and addressed. And we have every intent to bring them up to where they should be, and in the very near future. And the consent order allows us to really make some of these drastic changes, whether budgeted or not. All we're trying to do is the taxpayers hold us accountable, and we're just trying to do the best we can to be proactive. based on where we are, and I think we've done that.
Okay, well,
And Greg should have been making, that salary range for the chief appraiser is somewhere around, it's like, it's in the 90s.
One of my appraisers came from Early County. He was there for 25 years. He was making 60 when he left. They rehired a girl from Florida and started paying her 80. And he's not happy about it. He works for us now. He was not happy about that. But it's like selling your house. Where you going to go? Everything's expensive nowadays.
You don't know what you have until it's gone.
Mm-mm.
okay, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your comments.
Okay. You can turn the stopwatch off now. Invited guests, we're gonna go with Joe Norman to start with.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This packet that I gave y'all are all appeals. The first page is all the improved appeals front and back. So you have some on the back. These are all the ones that Tom has visited. It's got their name, address, the percent adjustment that we're suggesting. And if you go to the third page, I've got the percent adjustment arrayed in order, so you can go straight to the ones that were suggested a much bigger drop. So there's 3 pages to the improved. There's 3 pages that have the same thing, they're just different in order. One of them's in map parcel order. You see the highlighted?
Mm-hmm.
The second one is an owner order. And then the third one is percent suggested adjustment order. The top one there being the biggest adjustment all the way down to, you can see, to ones that we couldn't adjust. And then we're going to have meetings with it.
Some of these you have already worked and
Yeah, these have already been visited. We've worked them in the computer system. We've got our final answer that we think we're going to send a 30-day on, and we're just waiting for y'all to say it's okay to send these new 30
I see a lot of drops. Did you
Yeah.
did you drop them, agree to drop them that much?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. What happened was a lot of these that you see drop big time are, and we've got all that information on a much bigger spreadsheet that was not going to fit in what I wanted to show y'all today. But if you want to see which ones dropped and why, we have that as well. I can email it to you. Tom, anything that he changed, he put down if he changed the grade, if he removed a building, if it had too much square footage. We're still visiting properties that still never had pictures taken on prior. So these were folks that we hadn't been to. We did not visit the past couple of years. So these were all new appeals to us, new properties. So yeah, there were a lot of the landlocked properties were classified as having access. So I had to change all of those and get those to the right accessibility, desirability. So that's what you're seeing on a lot of those big drops. Other than Southern Mill, we talked about that last time, that Southern Mill drop. So there's about 7 of them that are more than 20%. I think that was kind of what we said last year. Was anything more than 20%, I was going to ask y'all to take a look at. And now these aren't drops from last year. Some of these still went up 200,000 and 300,000. They just came back down from when our new notice went out until we could get out there and look at it. Kind of like yours did. Yours went up pretty high, and we had to get it back down. That's what a lot of these are too.
So this is commercial land.
That is correct.
It's all appeals.
We're doing it in map. Now that
Okay.
we've got all the appeals in, we can do it in map and parcel order. We
Okay.
can work geographically. This first batch, we went ahead and started working these before all the appeals came in. So now we're right back, he's right back to some of these same places, but we want to wait for them all to come in, so he's not going to the same place 3 or 4 times across the county. So now we're working them in map and parcel order. So you're going to have some folks that say, wait a minute, I appealed, 2-3 months ago, and my neighbor just got their 30-day notice. Hopefully that don't happen, but it's very possible that it will be in the next batch that comes through.
That next batch will be in the next fiscal year, right?
Oh, yeah, it'll be the next meeting. Yeah, Tom's, yeah, hopefully by the time we meet with y'all again, we're gonna have another 200 ready to go. And then that should be getting us close to other than what the vacancies are left.
What were we talking about, Don, the other day?
Oh, the dollar per acre override probably.
That's right.
I'm gonna beg y'all to hold off on those for next year. Most of them are land, which we can adjust. I was a little worried about the homestead, but you can still always adjust the land other than the 2 acres that the house goes with. There's over 200 of them. That's gonna be 200 more notices that you're gonna have to send out with 45 days. You can't send them out on the 30-day.
It's gonna postpone.
Yes.
It's going to cause problems.
But under SB 33, we can adjust them next year.
Yeah, most of these are land issues that went to BOE years ago, and if the BOE said, all right, I'm ruled that this is $1,000 an acre, they would go down there and put that $1,000 an acre in that override in the wrong spot. I don't know why Wind Gap even has that down there, because they had to write a new report even to locate those. Well, that just kept accumulating over the years. There's some that were 22 years ago that override was placed in there. So over the years, that $1,000 per acre is now up to $10,000 an acre 20 years later. Some of those were going to go from that to the 10. Now they were in Cuba, so it's not going to affect the digest that much if we wait till next year. They'll be ready. Those will be the first ones ready to go next year. They're ready to go, but it's going to cause some issues. I really do believe. I've talked to a lot of folks about if it was 5 or 6, no big deal. But there's 200 of these.
Well, is other counties using Wind Gap experiencing the same issue on their overrides?
No, because most of the counties I've been with, and I know not to have them do that. So any kind of override, and we all know it now goes in the non-CUBA up top where you can run a report on that. And now in Pike County, you can actually run a report for the dollar per acre override because either Greg or Grant had to write that program to track those down. But y'all are the only ones that have that program now. So there's places that they have set up in Wind Gap that they shouldn't even be there. It just causes problems. You can put 200% depreciation on a house accidentally. That's going to double the house value, and they should have some kind of alarm telling you, So that was just one of those things that accumulated over the years. I don't think one more year is going to kill the digest, but they absolutely have to be released next year. And we finally tracked them down. That's a plus. We know which ones they are now. So I can't remember if y'all made a motion at the last meeting to send these, even though notices had been sent. And I'll do whatever y'all want. We'll work them up. We'll send them. I'll meet with them. It's just going to cause.
You talking about the overrides?
Yeah.
No, I think
Wait till next year.
I think that's what we need to do, but I don't know if that needs to be in form of a motion. Does it?
I'm
How
trying to
long has
remember.
them overrides been on that?
Well, you just
Some of them have been 20 years.
20 years.
20, 25 is what he-
Is that because somebody didn't know how to remove them,
Yeah.
or somebody just didn't know how to do the job?
I didn't know how to remove them unless I came across it. Brent's the one that started bringing them to my attention when I first got here. And that's when I started trying to run the report. And we never could run that report. So as we got to them, we take them off. And then I think Greg and them got a report run, but it was only the ones that were the non-CUBA overrides. Those were easy to track down anyway. So they thought they had them taken care of. And then a year goes by and they start popping up again. And we're like, wait a minute, I thought we got these taken care of. Remember? Am I telling the story correctly?
Yeah.
And so they showed me the report, and I'm like, yeah, that is an override report, but that is not where it's being listed. So that's when we had to track those down and run that report. And we didn't even get the report till after the notices went out.
That is correct.
Those
Yeah.
partials I showed you, were they overrides on those?
No, those aren't on that list.
They are?
They're not anymore.
So why were they so low?
Now that, I'm not sure. I'll have to look at their accessibility desirability, but that's the first thing I checked on that list you gave me was to make sure none of those were on that dollar per acre override. But I can sit down with you.
But the assessed value is going backwards. What causes it to go back?
Now, one of them, acreage split off of it. It was a smaller size tract this year than it was last year. And then there was a couple more, that the accessibility, desirability changed. And then I didn't get to the rest of them. But there was an answer for, the first handful that I looked at. And then I just kind of put them in order with the others that I'm looking at. But I had to keep them separate from appeals because I didn't want to get them confused as an appeal and start working on that adjustment. A lot of these adjustments are accessibility, desirability adjustments. If it's landlocked, that accessibility, if it was a 3C, which is average, I'm changing them to a 5 or 6, which means you have to go through somebody else's property. And that's why you're seeing some of these big drops, is because they're dropped from our new value, not from last year's value.
Right.
So as far as I can tell, there's only a few of these that dropped from, some of them went up kind of high last year. So there are some that legitimately probably do need to come down a tad. They just didn't file an appeal last year.
So Lynn, from me looking at some of these properties and from my experience, once these properties are sold and resurveyed, their lot sizes are changing because the deeds and all weren't accurate, because used to they went off word of mouth and a fence post and a rock. So that's where
The ones I showed them were just large tracts.
Yeah.
That just went backwards for some
Right.
reason.
yeah.
And see, a lot of those, when something happened a few years ago, I guess y'all brought somebody in to help on the land, and they had just gone in, and it happens, I'm not blaming them, but they put a 1.30 neighborhood factor on a lot of,
Rural land.
yeah, and so you're supposed to do that with your accessibility and desirability. So when I took that off, some of them dropped, and then we ran back up with the new schedule, and some of those may just not have caught back up yet. It's possibly what some of the rest of those are. But they were all large tracts in Kugler too. So,
So do I need to entertain a motion
I would
to,
suggest you entertain a motion to follow the recommendation of the one to way to address the overrides once the complete review can.
once, what was that last?
The complete review has been accomplished.
Just say the override is basically land overrides.
that is,
So I need to entertain a motion
Yes.
to postpone addressing the overrides until.
Want me to make?
Second.
I'll make a motion to postpone the land overrides per Norman and Associates to the next year, so we can get the ball rolling for the digest, and we can correct them next year.
Okay, got a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Okay, so
Good job.
that gives the tax commissioner a little bit of breathing room.
I knew that would make Donna happy too. And then the other thing I need from y'all is just to give the office, the go-ahead to send these new 30-day notices.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
What's the status on the sales ratio?
Okay, so, and I had a meeting with the audit department last week in another county. Our in-house ratio here is a 38.5. I'll stand on that all day long. It's one we turned over to y'all at one of the last meetings. I think they came back at 37.6. All right, so the audit department will decide what percentage of your digest is made up of residential, commercial, and ag. I can only use Dodge as an example because I don't know about this one yet. Dodge was 40% rural land. So the audit department weights more towards what percentage does that carry on your digest. So in other words, 10 rural land sales hold as much weight as 50 residential sales. Does that make any sense? And that's the way they do theirs. We don't do our ratios like that. So
Is that the way Dodge County does it?
no, that's what the audit department does.
The DOR.
Yeah, yes, that is. Well, the audit department they're the ones that come in and try and equalize the digest. That's what the audit department does. That's why public utilities, when When your ratio drops below a 38, that's why public utilities only pays on that ratio. So you will lose money based on what the audit ratio is. So 37.6 to 38, you're not going to lose a ton on the public utilities, especially with as much that's come in this past year.
We'll
I
just
don't know
get
what it does on the consent order, though. That's the only other thing I would say. But I think August 28th might be y'all's last day to appeal. The Board of Assessors now can appeal the audit. If anything, just to buy some time to let's see, you know, where, I didn't really see the sales that were turned back over to the audit department. I assume Greg turned those over and met with them and everything.
So let's, let's entertain a motion.
Are you gonna monitor that sales ratio? Because if we need the audit to get it up,
Yeah, and what I'll have to do is see, and I think one of y'all may have sent me something on that. So who's y'all's rep from the audit department?
It's Jerry and from the audit department. I think it's Jerry from the audit
Okay, I don't know him. I met with Lee Thomas last week. He's head of the audit department, so I was.
department. I've dealt with Lee.
So we need to find out, of course, your audit rep, and then see what we need to do to file an appeal, what the last day is, and would it benefit the county? Because y'all aren't losing a ton of money on the public utility sides. I just don't know what that does while y'all are under a consent order. So, because y'all are good on the Department of Revenue. They just want you to be at a 36 to 42.
I think it's Jeff from the audit department. You know Jeff?
I do not.
I can email Lee Thompson and ask.
Does he do Lamar? We'll talk about that later. I think that's something y'all can wait on because I think any entity can file the appeal now. It used to just be the commissioners. But I think the Board of Assessors can file that appeal, and that one appeal will carry for everybody.
You're referring to the appeal for the ratio?
For the audit, yes, for the audit ratio.
So
I don't know that y'all need to do it yet, but I don't mind doing it for y'all and trying to fight for you on it. But if it doesn't, if it's not going to hurt y'all that much being at a 37.6, that does tell you we still got some room to increase values. Is what that tells you. But
So what are you saying now? You're saying,
I'm saying let's find out.
so let's,
Who the guy is. Let's talk with him and see if it will even benefit the county to file this appeal.
Do you see with the large number of appeals, the ratio moving up or down?
Here's what's interesting, and once again, I can only use Dodge as an example. One sale in Dodge County for that rural land, if I could get one of them out, moved that ratio 2 points, which in turn was about $25,000 in public utility.
From a 37 to a 39?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in our case, from a 29 to a 32 or 31. But it's also the way they do their ratio. Now, I appealed it there. I'm going to fight it. But it's worth it there, even if we get it up to a 34, 35. For y'all are so close to that 38. I don't know.
So we just need to check with DOR on the consent order, what that's going to do.
Yes, and see if they're saying until y'all get that up to a 38, you're going to stay under a consent order. I don't know if that's the way the wording is in it. But y'all, you could be out from under the consent order by now.
who knows?
I don't know.
Rob, do you have that consent order and the verbiage to that?
I have the consent order. I have looked at that issue. And the appeal date is August 20th.
Okay,
When?
August 28th.
But my question, that consent order said if we didn't do every one of those items listed, that we would still be under it. So if we just do them,
I have to double check because as Joe was indicating, 36 is an acceptable sales ratio.
Mhm.
You just lose the utilities portion. If you're at a 38 or higher, they will,
Pay 40.
the assessment will be 40. If you're below 38, you are assessed at the actual sales ratio number, which is 37.6.
so that would determine if, when we come out from under the consent
Well,
order.
that determines how much money you lose on public utilities,
I know.
but I don't know about the consent order.
Yeah, I don't know if the consent order says you have to be at the 38 or if you're in the acceptable range of 36, it's fine.
To be out from under.
I'll need to look at it.
me, I mean, I think it's worth just appealing.
Even if it doesn't go anywhere, at least they'll come down and explain the audit. It was really interesting for them to explain to my board what, that we weren't making this up. We have to keep our values within 10% of the sales, or you lose money on public utilities, and
That's huge.
then that millage rate goes up.
Yes.
So the letter that accompanied sales ratio indicates that the Board of Assessors can file the appeal. Says each governing authority or independent school, Board of Education, and each county board of tax assessors.
And I think only one of y'all has to file the appeal, and then that covers every other entity. Used to, it would just be if you set a millage rate, you could appeal. And I'll get back with y'all. Well, you're saying let's go ahead and appeal. Okay, never mind.
I mean, I'm not gonna make a motion, but I would recommend that, let's just see if the DOR is correct or not.
Let's discuss it when the two other members get back next week
Oh, yeah.
and get their take on it, and then we can file it.
You'll have one come back. I don't know how much Christopher's going.
I'd like his input.
You can call him on the phone.
I will.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
And I'll talk with Lee. I've known him forever. He kind of makes the final decision on these things with all the department. And we're just gonna keep rolling. Tom's knocking on doors now, people that have filed an appeal.
So basically, rather than taxing, we would the utilities would be assessed at 37.5 rather than 40%.
Rather than 40, yes, so that'd be 2.5% of the.
But it's way better than it's been being.
Well, and also all that money will be made back with the
Increased
increase
digest.
Yeah, because it was a commercial industrial year too this year, so they don't benefit from the homestead like the taxpayers do. Or the homestead property owners. And I'm gonna meet with anybody that's got more than 4 or 5. I'm gonna try and meet with, because that just bogs BOE down when you have that many people. So I'll meet with, the obvious suspects, and if we can't come up with an answer, otherwise we'll send them to Board of Equalization and let the BOE deal with them. And I'll deal with them. But once we get through these to where we send 30 days out, once they start reappealing, that's when I'll try and meet with them after that. If we hadn't satisfied them with Tom's walk around, because you're talking to a lot of, Tom's holding the appeal on the property owner's doorstep a lot of times, getting the same information that they would come in and tell us. So, yeah, bogging you down pretty good talking to them, isn't it?
Yeah.
I said don't rush out of there, though. Just let them vent and get it right.
They're angry.
Yeah.
Is that it, Joe?
Yes, I think we covered everything. The ratio was the one thing I did want to talk to you about. We've talked about that. So,
Joe, what's your opinion on what we've done so far as replacing our chief appraiser? Seeing that you're in the game.
I haven't been able to tell any difference yet, because we just kind of
Because they're
keep
not
our
there.
head down. We just kind of do our own thing. Thankfully, Emily and Danielle's in there helping us out, so that kind of keeps us from feeling the full burden of a man down, I guess you could say. But hey, everybody has to be refreshed. I mean, I think that's what they do with head coaches, Sometimes you're doing a decent job, but you just got to go somewhere else. So if y'all don't have any more questions, once we get these sent back out, we'll start meeting with everybody. And I don't think we should tie the digest up. I think once the chief appraiser's been hired, I think they'll go ahead and submit it. With, obviously, the appeal list still under consideration.
And the digest is how much? 800?
Now, I don't know right this second. It was whatever I said last year. I mean, at the last meeting, it's probably come down a tad bit because we've made these adjustments. But
We will.
I can have some at the next meeting for you.
We'll like to see it before we
Yeah.
submit it.
Matter of fact, call me this afternoon. I can tell you what it looks like.
Got it.
I can pull it up on my computer.
When's the submission date for that again?
September 1st for us to have it to the state to get approved, so we're way behind.
We're not the only county behind.
But I can tell you with this homestead credit, it's first come, first served. If we don't have it ready and we're one of the last ones, we may not get that money back. That the governor has put out there.
Wow.
So what's the high date on the two new?
We can contract with like PCS, whatever it's called, GMAS. They can process it for me. They've already processed a set for me. They're at 1.63 in dispute order. We know I have numbers for everything up until about, a week and a half ago that we can work with. I talked to Kenny at the state and he said that we could contract with them and they can process it for me.
When you say first come, first serve, is that because they run out of money or what?
Yes, they've only allowed so much money. Now, the last time they did it, they ended up coming with the extra at the end. There's no guarantees, is what I'm telling you. And that's what they told me at class.
Is the chief appraiser really, I guess, the only thing holding us up at this point?
That is the only thing I would think. And
What's the high date for them?
on the news, they said it was September.
Oh, the hire
1st.
date,
The high date.
Hold on, I have
the
it.
start date?
I have it.
Yeah, it's on 9/1, isn't it?
Hold on.
9/1.
It's whatever, yeah,
What's the other one?
8/31
8/31.
is the chief's hire date.
So you
I've got
kind
to, I've got to step out to the restroom. I'll be right back.
it's kind of pushing it.
If I can get over the numbers TCS gets us, then we can go forward with it.
But we have to have a chief appraiser to submit it.
You need.
You have to have-
You'll need the whole discussion.
Yeah.
We squeezed it on.
If y'all are good with me and Tom, we're gonna hit it. I almost got there before it gets too cool on me.
Yeah, he wants to go out there. He wants to go out there and stand on the store steps. And look at us.
I can't wait to get older now.
How you get hot with air conditioning?
Go ahead.
You spend about 2 minutes in your truck and then about 30 minutes out on walking around the house. All right.
You don't get to come walk my
I'm coming to your place.
No, you're not.
See ya. Call me if y'all got any questions.
You
All right,
know,
guys.
landlocked.
See you, Joe.
See y'all.
I'll give you a call.
Yeah, call
If anyone needs to give me a call, it's BR 549.
About onesie.
See y'all.
We are currently at a recess. Jason, you're up next as soon as,
I think not.
he invited a guest.
Board report.
No, he's.
No, you amended the agenda.
Huh?
You amended the agenda to add Jason Leatherman.
And then I come after, then the board report comes out to him.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, back to the question again. If the new chief appraiser gets him the 31st of this month,
Yes.
okay, that means she have 1 day to submit the digest.
Well, we're not gonna make that. We are way past that. Submitting the digest is when they give me the information and I take it to the state. We gotta go through the whole process of setting a mill rate before that's ever sent to the state. So at this point, if I had it today, we're still looking mid-September to be able to actually submit it to the state to the end of September, depending on the county and the school and the cities doing their part of it.
But
But
you
I
know,
have to have a digest in order to put it over for them to set a mill rate, for them to get back the information. The chief appraiser just gives me all the documents for that digest at the time of submission.
but you,
Like all of appeals, and then certified, where their certifications are. There's like a whole list of different tuba lists, homestead lists.
but you're not gonna get it until the chief appraiser gets in.
I can't do it if
That's
what
right,
y'all
because that's what I'm
choose.
trying to get
And
at.
that's why I'm saying.
She's
look
not
at-
gonna get her information till the chief appraiser gets in, because only the chief appraiser can submit it.
You also, as Donna mentioned, have the ability to contract with a third party, not the state. The state has authorized somebody like the GMAS, who has helped Donna already transfer the data.
Because they have contact with me and Window, because they are over all of that, and they know what they're doing when they gather the information and then pull it over for me to have.
If you do that, we'd
And I
like
have a
to.
digest that y'all can look at. I did not bring it with me, but I can definitely, so you can see what kind of increase you're looking at.
You already have.
I've got them before, because I wanted to,
Did you contact somebody, contract with somebody to get the digest?
I've talked to TCS for them to help me through this, so we know where we're at on it.
And just to clarify, just so we'll have it on the record, you all made a motion at your last meeting, that you approved the minutes for to transfer the data to the tax commissioner.
Correct.
Because that motion was made, the tax commissioner used her resources to help get that data transferred.
Do you need us to make a motion to contract that third party to assist you in moving forward?
She's telling you, you have two options. You wait for the chief appraiser, or you go ahead and authorize the third-party GMAS to assist.
Can I entertain a motion on that?
I make a motion, we authorize a third party to assist the tax commissioner to get this ball rolling. And this way, that way, we can get everything straightened out for this year and move forward with the new chief.
Or to keep it rolling anyway?
I second, but I still got questions.
Well, we
I
got a
thought-
discussion, got a second now for discussion.
I got a second, but Joe Norman just said that he didn't have all his information
Those will
Could-
come to me as work orders.
to add to the,
Right. They are still listed as under appeal, and they will come to me as work orders to fix them.
so if,
Just like anybody else that has an appeal.
so if all these appeals don't get, he gets
It'll
bogged.
go out as under appeal, and then I'll get a work order and I'll send them a final bill. Show what they owe.
But because you're under the requirements, it's what she was referencing, 1.63 in percentage value of your total digest, or the number of parcels. Because you're below that, you can proceed to send the digest information to the state, even though you have outstanding appeals.
Right.
That's the difference. And then once those appeals get addressed, you can fix them with work orders.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor to give the go-ahead for you to coordinate with the third party to move forward with getting the digest done, correct? All right, so got a motion and a second. We're gonna go ahead and vote. All in favor? What about the assessments? Do we need a motion on the floor to go ahead and send the assessments out?
Yeah, Joe Norman
Yes.
was asking you guys for a motion to
For the 30 days.
for the 30 days.
Yes.
The only thing that I heard that you may want to clarify is that you previously had a percentage allocation of 20%. He said that there were 7 properties that were over that. So your motion probably ought to entertain the approval to send the 30-day notices, including the 7 properties that he identified that were over the 20%.
You want to make it or you want me to?
I didn't write all that down. You better make a motion. You wrote it, huh?
I make a motion, we send the appeals per Norman and Associates, including the 7 that put us over the 20% mark for the 30-day notices.
So,
I got a motion on the floor in a second. It's in the notices, including the 7 properties that were over the 20%. So let's put it to a vote. All in favor? Okay. Is there anything else you need for us to do for the
I
office?
just want to say thank you. I just like to be able to do my job.
Don, I'm gonna come out of office. I wanna see that.
Okay, you come on by, I'll have it ready for you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
See you too. Okay, now that we've executed all that business, next in line, Mr. Jason.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Board. Thank you all for adding me to the agenda. Give me an opportunity to explain why I need to be added. Currently, I own 8 properties in Pike County. Been paying taxes for a long time. I have one piece of property that just doesn't make sense. I bought it in October of 2024 for $400,000, which at the time, to be frank with you, I felt like I was overpaying for it because it was a good piece of commercial real estate. It's where the old church was, right next door to Middle Georgia Fleet, right there. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. It's 9311 Highway 19 address. And from October 2021 to when the appraised values come out in 25, which is only about a 3 to 4 month period right there, the property value went up $37,000 in that time frame. Unfortunately, I went to Greg Hobbs last year after the time to do an appeal. He told me that I was too late on it. Again, I've never appealed any of my property values before. I'm not super familiar with what that process is. However, he told me to get with him this year and we would sit down and take a good look at it. So this year's appraised values come out, it shows it at $472,000. I went on and my understanding is y'all look at it from 2 points of view, actual sale comps, and I viewed it as what y'all have other properties that are similar in the area. So from both of those perspectives, this is drastically overstated value is right here. That's showing about a 19% increase over a 15-month period over an arm length transaction from a willing buyer and a willing seller. So what better comp on a property than what it actually sold for a 15-month buyer? Again, I understand values are going to go up. I'm not a fool. I do real estate for a living. However, in the area, I have bought, like I said, I own I think 6 other commercial properties inside of the city of Zebulon. So most of the comps you're going to pull are probably not my comps. I'm very familiar with what rates are. You're not going to be able to find comps for what you have in value.
When did you purchase that?
Sorry.
When did you purchase that?
October 2024. I have a list of properties that y'all have appraised values on in the area that are comparable, and that list shows the value at roughly $50,000 an acre and right at $34 a square foot. What y'all have me at is right at $50,000 an acre, which is fine, but you have my building at $68 a square foot. That's where a large increase is coming from. I have all these comps that I emailed to Greg. I went by Greg's office multiple times trying to sit down with him. I actually have this list that I emailed him back in March to kind of dispute it. And I know Greg, I serve on several other boards, so I think he was just kind of like, hey, I'll get with you. And when I heard he was no longer here, I was like, oh, might be too late. So I went in there and sat down with him. That's how I got here.
What's that plat number? Do you know right off the top of your head?
I can get that to you. Well, actually, I have the property ID number, if that would help.
Okay.
066057. One more thing to point out. I was not receiving some of my assessments. So I went in there to talk to Greg about that too. Said, hey, I didn't have it. And Emily just pointed out to me this morning that they were receiving some back. They were going to the wrong address.
What was your purchase price on it again?
400.
Even?
Yes, sir.
And the new assessed value is what?
472,943.
And basically that's the,
That's all, the increase is strictly on the square footage price of the building?
No, sir, it increased the value and on the building both. However, when I said that a second ago about $50,000 an acre, I look around and I see that that's generally about what that stuff's going for right there. So I'm not trying to dispute that. It's more, my dispute is on the price.
How many acres is that on?
and that's, it's commercial. I haven't looked into it, Jason, but I'll look into it, since, go ahead.
With him not being able to receive some of his assessment notices and them being sent back to the office
Yes.
as return mail to us and no forwarding addresses, with him not being able to receive his assessment notices, he hasn't been able to have his right to appeal.
Right.
So he wants to have his right to appeal.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think we make a motion to add him to the appeal list for this piece of property and let it go through Norman and Associates. And
What is that process? What do I need to do?
You'll come into the office and you'll file an appeal.
yes, a written appeal.
What's this?
And I did fill out some paperwork with Greg.
Yeah, like I said,
I got you.
I don't know where he did with the paperwork back in March that he filled out with Greg. So
But he's got a returned address, I mean, a return
mail
piece of
that
mail
that I
to you.
found. Mhm.
Yes, so, yes.
Why didn't Greg tell you to file an appeal then when you
He
talked?
did. He actually, so the way that went down, and I'm not trying to talk about a man that's not in the room, but the fact is, I stopped in there 2 or 3 times, and every time he was in the middle of something, he was going to lunch. And then one day, he actually just seen me standing out there on the square, and he run out of his office and handed me the paper. I filled it out right there, and handed it back to him. And then I sent him, and I can forward y'all the emails if need be, but I sent him 2 more follow-up emails saying, hey, just checking on the status of this, checking on the status of it. And he finally responded to one and said that he was in the middle of doing a tax digest, and that he would get back with me shortly. I never heard from him. So
What's the square footage of that building?
3,200, I don't remember. I might be off.
And you said they have it at 68 a square?
Well, that puts it at 115.89.
So, and I've got a spreadsheet here. I'd be glad.
So I guess if they're assessing,
3,285, I'm sorry. And if you do the land price per acre at 107,000, actually not. Had another one up. So that land price per acre of 107,000. Building square foot at 3,285. That puts a building value of 223,765 for a total value of 437. That was for the year.
That was in 25.
That was at 25. So it went up even more than that.
I thought you said the land was valued at 50,000 an acre there.
I was
It
incorrect.
looks like you just got it, it went up.
Yeah, I was incorrect on that. I apologize.
What was that total again?
So, and keep in mind, I sent Greg this stuff back in March talking about prior years, so this don't even have 472. This is where it was valued at 437. I was,
In 25.
yes, sir, I was debating that. But, $107,000 an acre is what y'all haven't shown now.
Acre.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a small tract too, and it's in the city, which it has water, there's land up on 19 on the north end there, 6.97, and I think Matt Woods has it listed 100,000 an acre.
Listed and sales.
I agree 100%, brother. I agree, because I I have property on 19 as well. So I agree.
So they got 214,000 in land value on that new assessment. You just take that from the 472,943. Maybe that's where you get your $65 a square foot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I would like the opportunity to visit and take a look at this. This doesn't pass the smell test for me.
That seems high though.
Yeah.
I mean, just land value to me.
Well, the fact of the matter is, you can all take it back to one thing. Arm length transaction between a will buyer and a will seller happened 15 months before the end. There's no way it went up 20%. But real estate and Zebulon has not went up 20% in the commercial world in the last 15 months. Anything is planed out.
I mean, that is if you think it was actually a market value purchase. I mean,
I felt like I overpaid it. I was trying to get him down like 365 on sale. So,
Well, I make a motion that we add Mr. Leatherman's appeal to the current list of appeals on plat number 066057 due to the fact that his assessment was returned to the tax assessor's office due to incorrect mailing address.
Second.
all right, got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries.
We failed to discuss this, but he's just filing an appeal for Joe Norman to go look at it.
Correct. Yes, sir. Because he didn't have that opportunity with the requirement.
thank you guys. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, sir.
All right, let's move on. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. So now we're down to line item board members report.
I had asked Rob in the prior discussion about getting the, thank you, Jason.
Thanks, sir.
About getting the report for the studies of comparable salaries in the appraiser's office that was done. So by the prior board, once we get that, I think that's all I have.
I got a couple of questions. We've hired 2 new people.
We haven't made that announcement yet, so I was gonna make the announcement on the,
Well, you need to make an announcement because the question I got, we gotta have computers in there. They just enough computers for what we've got now. When Joe Norman comes in there, or Tom comes in there, he has to have a computer and access to Windows. So we don't need to be stalling on that. I don't, You think you're good? Okay, well, that's good. Now, next thing, if we don't have the money in the budget, how do we pay these people? Now, I'm lost. Maybe a magical answer to this, but I'm confused. How we gonna pay them? What you gonna do diplomatically to get the money?
we're gonna file an appeal. I mean, an amendment to the budget.
With the commission.
Mm-hmm.
So how quick you gonna do that?
I don't know, Lynn. I mean, we talked about all this during the executive session, during the hire and all that. So as far as pay, that's what we discussed. We know that there's can't solve all your problems right here today in this meeting, but what you got anything to say about that?
Well, once we receive this report, I would like to adjust everyone's salary per our discussion. And that way we can send one amendment to the budget, because we've got to get out from under this consent order and make sure that office is properly run and properly funded so that our taxpayers are treated fairly and transparent through this process.
I'm all for that too. I'm right with you there. But my question is, what if they don't give the money that we've already allotted in the budget for this? What if they don't? And you know, they have that power of, they can say, well, you wait till next year when the budget comes up and put it in there. But then we got this to deal with now.
Well,
Is this a wrong question, Mr. Morton? Am I asking this question right?
I understood what you're asking.
Sir,
I understood what you're asking.
can you answer?
Can I answer?
Do we have to go, he's saying we're gonna appeal to amend the budget with the commissioners. Is that gonna happen?
Until the request is received and analyzed, I can't answer for the board of commissioners.
I'm sure. I understand that.
That's what I'm
So I
saying.
can tell you that throughout the year, there are amendments that are made to the budget that are necessary and required. So the only thing that I can answer your question with today is that if you submit a request for a budget amendment, it will be received, reviewed, and acted upon, whether they approve it or deny it.
So in between there of that appeal getting looked at, reviewed, and processed and talked to, where do you get the money? If we don't have the money in the budget, where are we gonna get it?
There was overage in the budget originally that we passed.
Not for both of them. Was it for both of them?
There's an overage, so once we get this study and figured out, Lynn, we'll walk back through each line item and submit an amendment to the commissioners or to the county manager for an amendment to the budget for the tax assessor's office.
There's money in there now to pay as we go, yes. Is there money at the end of the year where we would run out of money if we didn't get?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yes, we would run out of money.
In a couple of months, probably.
No.
But there's also one staff member now. There's 2 staff members short.
Right.
Yes, correct.
I'm all for that. I just don't want somebody to get up there and say, well, where's my paycheck at?
I agree.
Especially after I done resigned from the other positions.
Yes. Well, we've got to get this study, look around and do some research on our own and submit a budget amendment and get it approved.
Yeah.
So,
My intent would be to, once we figure out what the office staff should be at based on surrounding counties, is make a recommendation to increase their salaries to that mark. With the new hires that we've made, request an amendment to cover that salary.
especially since the commissioners know that 41% of the county employees are underpaid. We know that. That's public record from the last commissioners meeting.
I'm finished.
With that being said, we do have a position that was offered as deputy chief appraiser. Heather Burke from Upson County. Her start date will be August the 24th. The new chief appraiser will come in September the what?
First, actually,
Obviously.
August 31st is the
One week
Monday.
afterwards. Yeah.
Tuesday is the 1st. Yes.
So with those, the office will be staffed for 5, and we need to assess the salaries for the other 3.
Correct.
You know, and just because you work for the government doesn't mean that you shouldn't be treated the same as if you work for the private sector. As far as what you're worth. And I won't get on that tangent, but I've expressed my feelings on that. Is we always tend to want to get what we can get as cheap as we can get from the county perspective. If We want to pay as little as we can. That's the theory.
It's in the private sector too, is do more with less. So the world is changing. It takes more people to run the same operation as it did 5 years ago. We have
Why
to
is that?
change that mentality because there's just more documents and legal loopholes that we have to fill in today's world. There's more rules, more laws than they were 5 years ago that we have to amend and abide by.
Anybody got anything? All right, we're gonna move on to old business, which there is none. Now we're on to new business. We got board consideration for land, plat and parcel 060104.
I've looked at both of these. They're right next to each other, and they're contesting the square footage of bonus room above the garage. Have we been out there and looked at those two spaces?
Yes.
So are they finished spaces or unfinished spaces?
It's finished, but they had like the whole 100% over the garage instead of the 50%.
Okay, so it was a coding area is what they're doing? So y'all's
And it's a
recommend,
mom and daughter.
okay, I got you.
So you got Lane and King,
They're right next to each other, yes.
and so those were just the actual percentage of
The
finished.
over the garage was.
And so your recommendation is to amend that
Yes.
and rescind a,
We send it to the commissioners for consideration of refund
Right.
because their refund is on for the, I think it was 3 years they had been
Yes.
overcharged.
and that's just due to an error made by the office of Somerset,
That is
whatever.
correct.
Okay.
So the thing wasn't finished. It was finished.
It was, it's just not as much.
It's not 100%, it's 50% of the square
Yes.
footage.
So they had been charged at 100% instead of 50% on finished space.
So we're discussing A and B, Lane 060104 and King 060103. So can I entertain a motion at the recommendation of the,
I make a motion recommendation of the staff to send these to the commissioners for approval of a refund due to a coding area and square footage discrepancy in the original assessment.
motion and a second on the floor? All in favor? So, all in favor? All right, so now we've got board consideration. We've got late appeals, Caldwell 07, well, we've got late appeals as noted on the agenda.
I've looked at these appeals. Some of these appeals, the values has actually decreased. One of them is a removal of an outbuilding. I've spoken with Joe at Norman and Associates. He recommends letting these appeals go into the list and let them handle it from there since they probably have to be visited. So
What do we mean by late appeals though?
After the due date.
after the due date, they were 1 or 2 days past the July 16th or 17th. 16th, wasn't it, or 15th?
16,
Yeah, and these come in on the 17th
17, 18.
and
21st,
and 21st. And the one that come in on 21st, their value,
30th.
they actually went down. So, for the transparency of this board.
What's the postmark? You ever look at the postmark date?
16th was the last day to file
Yeah.
appeal.
But what he was asking is on the letter when it.
They don't bring them in.
These were brought in.
Oh, they brought them in?
Mhm.
Okay, so
So
they
they
weren't
didn't bring
mailed
it, they didn't bring in their assessment notice when the,
on time. I got you. I see. Okay.
What did that man from the DOR say about late appeals?
He said for y'all that to accept them in, and then to go in front of y'all, and y'all was
And so,
either
right.
approve or not approve.
Did he recommend approval or non-approval?
Can't do that.
He did not say.
He doesn't say that,
He
he
just
based
said it
on,
comes
based
out
on
to
your,
Joe said with the few a number as they are, he would recommend just going and let it go into the appeal process.
My only issue is the late part of it. Is if it had been 45, what would we have done?
There's 45 days to digest.
No,
what-
45 appeals. I mean, late is late, right?
That is a true statement.
Do it for one, you kind of have to do it for
Pretty much you're gonna,
everybody.
Yeah.
I would
Come in
think.
today and try to file one.
I mean, it's like opening the window again and opening the door and say, you gotta have deadlines, and that's what they make deadlines for, I guess. I hate it, really do.
all right, so can I entertain a motion to allow these appeals that were past the deadline of the appeal, and they walk in. I mean, I just think we need to build some consistency here.
So there's two late appeals filed on the 17th, one on the 21st, and the other one was on the 30th, as Emily stated.
All right, so can I entertain a motion? Or, did you already make a motion?
No, sir.
Okay. You gotta make it a motion that you're either gonna agree with allowing the appeals that came in late to go through with the rest of them that were appealed on time, or not.
I'll make a motion to accept the appeals per recommendation of Norman Associates for the 4 late appeals.
Once again, I'll second it to discuss it, but once again, when you do that, you got to open the door for everybody else. Is that what you want to do? And that's what's gonna happen.
I'm inclined not to agree with it.
I'd like to give a taxpayer every break and every opportunity to do anything they can to prove their case.
But it is their responsibility.
It's their responsibility. That 45 days is up in black in the bold letters, 45 days.
But all of these did receive their assessment, because some of them brought them in. So
They received it, so they should be fully notified.
that is true.
Duly
Yes.
notified
Yes.
of all applicable deadlines and
Correct.
timelines.
Yes.
All right, so let's take it to a vote. All in favor of allowing these late appeals to go through? Show your hand by a vote in favor of. All opposed? It's just what, all right. I think that's just, we gotta set precedents here. All right, so D, we go to the non-disclosure. Pass that non-disclosure around. Starting to get the feeling that we need to have tax board members for these non-disclosures. All right, can I entertain a motion on the non-disclosure? Board recommends approval.
Motion to approve a non-disclosure.
I second
Got
that
a motion and
motion.
a second. All in favor for approval of non-disclosure? Motion carries. Okay, now we're moving on to real property A.
Now, you have 3 added
Wait a minute, yeah, you're right. There you go. Summer Smith, what was that on Summer Smith?
Thank you, Rob, for catching that. I'd
Yeah,
written it down
I did
over
catch
to
it.
the side.
I mean, that's what he
All right.
does.
Summer Smith, she was a 2023 appeal. She was a 299C block in 2023. When her house was reviewed in 2023, there was a pool that was put in 22 that should have been put on for 23. Field review took place, everything was fine. The pool was not put on for 2023 as it should have been. It was put on into the future for the 2024 year. So when we rolled over to the 2024 year, after her appeal was resolved, everything 299C lot agreed upon all the parties. When we rolled over to the 2024 year, her 299C came off because the pool was added into the 24 year, which it should have not have been. So we have been dealing with this from 24 to 25 because she did not receive her 2024 or 2023 299C lot. So discussing, having an idea in my head, discussing it with Danielle. She's been in several times between then, now, and everything else. So looking at it, coming up with a plan, discussing it with Danielle. The fair thing that we have thought about and coming to the board for consideration is we put the pool on, but we put it on as a no value for 23, 24, and 25, so she can have her 299C lot that was agreed upon all parties, and her pool put on at full value for 26, so that we can get this corrected and resolved for her, because it's been an issue since 24, when her 299C dropped off because her pool was put on for 24 instead of 23. And any changes that is made between a 299C agreement in the future year, it automatically takes the 299C off, because you're not supposed to have any improvements within that 3-year window of a 299C law.
I'll make a note, ahead to pool,
It
don't
has to
flag
be
the computer.
For 26, that it was, she knows for full value for 26, the pool's gonna go on at full value, but to get her resolved from her not having her right for to have the 299C lot, because the pool was not put on for 23, for those three years to show the pool but has no value to get this issue resolved.
That's 22, 23,
It'll be 23, 24,
24, and 25, correct.
and then 26, it goes on at full value.
All right, 'cause I understand.
That's the only way we can figure out how to resolve this issue.
Do you have a plat number?
It is 090-012D.
All right, we need a motion to take action. So can I entertain a motion on that one?
I have one question. Emily, and Danielle, will there be consideration of a tax refund that needs to be set up?
Yes, because her value went up between her 299C lot and her pool going on in the future year, that it was not resolved between 24 and 25. So we would have to get that issue resolved for her and get her 299C lot in.
So that will have to come back before us then, won't it?
On the board
Okay.
consideration to send it to the commissioners. Once we get everything fixed and send over to Donna, then we would be able to get that refund amount.
So we need to make a motion just to allow them to address it accordingly.
That's correct. I make a motion that we allow staff to correct the 299C and property improvements for Smith, plat number 090-012D.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Motion carries to allow the office to execute action on correcting on that issue there with Summer Smith. Next one is Jimmy Henley.
Okay, so Mr. Henley came by. Notices have already been sent out, but he wants to combine 2 properties together. They're right next door to each other. And we just want approval for us to be able to combine it for him. And if we do receive a notice, it'll just be a 30-day to show where it's combined.
You have them plat numbers?
It is 062, 057, and 062 and 059. They're right next door to each other.
Okay, they just missed the deadline.
Mhm.
He missed the deadline to join those properties together.
When did he come in, Emily?
I think he called the week I was on vacation, and then he called and then he called the week Danielle was out. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So he was prior to the July 16th issue. I'm trying to recall the date y'all were on vacation.
It was after the 16th.
It was after the 16th. Okay. But to combine those, they should have been done by January 1 anyway. Is that a correct statement?
Well, with the combining of the properties, he can do it for tax purposes.
Okay. What is y'all's recommendation? Late is late. We've already voted on that one.
Gotta go with a deadline. You got to set deadlines and stick to it, or you open the door for everybody.
And I could do it for him for next year.
That would be my recommendation.
Because like I said, if we combine them, we would have to send them 30 days. The value is going to change.
Correct.
Can entertain a motion to either approve or deny.
Motion to deny.
I second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor to deny the allowance for him to join those two properties together. Us send a new notice out post deadline. So we'll recommend that he just fill out that application for next year. All in favor? Motion carries. Harrison. What's the plat number for Harrison, plat and parcel?
078, 035.
What's the summary on that one?
He brought in, when he first came in to do his homestead exemption, he did not have his disability letter from the doctor, but his social security statement. So he just got a regular homestead. So we're just changing his homestead from an S1 to an L2, which is a regular disability homestead under 62.
Was that application?
It was brought in before the deadline, yes.
Okay.
But we're just changing his homestead from S1 to L2.
Can entertain a motion, and you recommend approval on that, right? So, can entertain a motion for, what was that plat number again?
078035.
To correct it from an S2 to an L,
S1 to
S1 to an L2, homestead classification. The S1 is regular homestead, L2 is,
L2 is a regular disability homestead under 62.
okay.
I make a motion, we approve per staff recommendation, plat number 078035 to change homestead exemption for S1 to L2. All documents were submitted prior to 7/16 deadline.
Got a motion and a second to approve as staff recommends. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now we go to real property, right? So we're at A. So we have 17 new applications for Kuva.
This is
Seven, I'm sorry. That's an L, not a. We got 7 new applications for these parcels, as noted on the agenda, to be put in Kuva in lieu of an appeal.
Danielle, what is the staff recommendations on these? Y'all have researched this.
We researched and field reviewed.
Okay, they can file them,
They have filed an appeal already.
yeah, so they can file for code
Yes.
Correct.
under the appeal. And has Dusty been out there and checked the acreage is right, and they are practicing conservation.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve the code in lieu of appeal, all 7 of them.
I second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor to approve the new CUVA applications in lieu of an appeal on the parcels as noted on the agenda. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, we have two CUVA continuation apps. As noted on the agenda, parcel numbers, board doesn't really make any recommendations. We need consideration, but can I get a motion on the floor for continuation of these two CUVAs?
So Danielle, have they still met all the requirements?
They have.
I make a motion to accept the two CUVA continuations per staff recommendations.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor for the approval of the continuation CUVAs. All in favor? Motion carries. We have two. Let's see. Is this, I'm understanding we got two renewals,
Yes.
CUVA renewals in lieu of an appeal?
Yes,
So they let their CUVAs expire.
correct. And they come into the field and
That's why they are appealing, because it went up due to failure to comply.
Can I entertain a motion to approve these two appeals? Two renewals for CUVA in lieu of an appeal.
I make a motion to allow the renewals for two CUVA in lieu of an appeal per staff recommendations.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We have four waivers.
I make a motion, we accept the four waivers per staff recommendation of approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor to approve the four waivers for the parcels as noted on the agenda. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now we're down to the homestead applications. We have 23 S1 category applications that have been reviewed. That is regular homestead. Staff recommends approval.
Is there a deadline on these to apply for homestead?
They, the state has changed it. They're in appeal time. You can appeal or file for homestead now.
Anytime.
No, during the appeal time.
Only during
45
the
days.
appeal.
These are not under,
I know they're not, they didn't appeal, but during the appeal time frame, you can still
You can
apply
still
for homestead.
I got it.
I make a motion to approve the 23 new S1 homestead per staff recommendations of approval.
Got a motion and a second for the approval of the 23 homestead applications. All in favor? S1 regular homestead. Motion carries. We have one application for an S5. That's a disabled veteran under 65 for homestead.
Motion to approve a one SD 65 disabled veteran.
I second that motion.
Got a motion and a second to approve the one application for S5 homestead exemption. All in favor? Motion carries. We also have one SD category, that's a disabled veteran over 65. Staff recommends approval.
Motion to approve homestead exemption, one SD disabled veteran over 65.
I second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We have 8 L4, 65 income-based homestead exemption application. Staff recommends approval.
Motion to approve homestead exemption 8L4 65 income base.
I second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, now we have 8 L1 classifications at 65 non-income based homestead exemption. Staff recommends approval.
Motion to approve homestead exemption 8L1 65 non-income base.
I second that motion.
The motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now we have 8 applications for L7, that's 70 and older income-based homestead exemption.
Motion to approve homestead exemption 8L7 70 and over.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second to approve the 8 L7 homestead exemptions. All in favor? Motion carries. Now we have 6 applications for L8, 70 and older, non-income based. Staff recommends approval.
Motion to approve homestead exemption 6L8, 70 and older, non-income based.
I second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We now have 2 applications for homestead exemption. Classifications L3, that's 62 income based.
Motion to approve homestead exemption 2L3, 62 income based.
I second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Last one is, we have 1 application for L5 homestead exemption. That's disabled under 65. Staff recommends approval.
Which one are we on? I,
M,
L?
L5. Disabled
M.
under 65.
Approve homestead exemption 2L3, 62 income based.
No, you already
The
voted.
next one.
Well, next one, that's M. Approve or denial homestead exemption 1L5, disabled under 65.
Is that a motion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lynn.
Second.
Put that what?
You're clicking it.
You
I
could hear it.
second.
You could hear it?
Yes, and it picks up on them. Yes.
Man, it must be nice to hear.
I second.
Man. All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the 1 application for L5 disabled under 65 homestead exemption. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now we're down to personal property. We got 1 appeal. Owner last name Stewart, 2016 Ford F-250. Wrong with the facts.
What do you pay for?
I've been showing this.
$7,000.
It was 7, yeah.
That's what is on the title.
That what?
The title where he purchased it, $7,000. Well, that was his appeal, but yes,
Purchase price is 7.
that's what he says, yes.
What's the market value?
Average on JD Power, average is 16,305.
What's the state value?
So 11,000,
11,000 is the state value.
11,100.
Okay. That would be the Willy Wonka golden ticket right there. I would say we go with the state because it's
I thought we always went with the mid-range average. That's what,
well, 7,000 is the purchase
no,
price.
11,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That 11,100.
Yeah, motion to set the Stewart's 2016 Ford F-250 at 11,100.
I second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor. That's just staying within our process there. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now we're down to public comment.
One quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
It's got to do with the staff over there. When Greg showed up here, he always drove a company vehicle. At Pike County, they came in a personal vehicle. How come?
I don't know. I wondered the same thing this morning when I
Okay,
pulled up.
that's why I'm
I
asking.
just wondered, why aren't they in the pickup truck or why aren't they?
Are y'all under county insurance?
Well, I wasn't planning on staying the whole time, but seeing them asked me, so that's why.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
But yeah,
I
you do
just
have
wanna make
access,
sure y'all
you
weren't-
do have access to a,
Yes.
okay.
So you was
Thank
just
you.
gonna leave her stranded and leave early?
Well, I was here to discuss Summer Smith and to find some stuff in our storage building, but she
Thank you.
just rode with me, so.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we got anything from our, legal?
I have 2 items to address, but they are both pending or potential litigation. I don't know if you want to discuss in executive session or you want to discuss.
Potential pending litigation?
One's pending, one's potential.
I would say that would be more privy to executive session.
Up to you.
Do you want to make a motion to, you want to amend the agenda to add executive session? Under line item, what would that be, 13 or 14? It would be 14. And,
No, it'd be 13.
no, 'cause we're on 13 right now, so we go,
Yeah.
Do it under 13.
Yeah.
okay,
I make a motion to
amend the agenda.
amend the agenda to add an executive session to discuss potential
pending.
legal pending.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor to amend the agenda to add executive session for discussion of potential and/or pending litigation. All in favor? Okay, we're exiting, it is now, we're exiting regular session and entering executive session at 10:10.
All right, give me 1 second, I'll kick it off.
10 minutes after 10 a.m.